Normally, addiction is approached with willpower and strength. And I've discovered through my own struggle with addiction that it's the opposite approach that we need. The strain of carrying a willpower, and determination is draining. And it, over time, lowers your energy levels. And so to have the energy required to endure cravings and withdrawal symptoms, you need to have as much energy as you can. And instead of using will and strength, I find it much more useful to use relaxation and acceptance. And this is what I want to share with you all. The present moment is really the key to discovering yourself. Part of that is what you're thinking and what you're experiencing inside your body, along with what you're perceiving internally and externally. The willingness to feel is not something that everybody is willing to do. We say, yeah, I'm willing to feel. But a lot of times we avoid sensations, thoughts, and emotions that we find uncomfortable. It's important that you develop the willingness to feel and experience what's happening inside your mind and inside your body. It's important to understand what a story is. A story is based on narrative. It has a beginning and an end. It has elements which simplify reality and condense it into a manageable bite that you can communicate to another person. To put infinity, or to put your experience into a story, simplifies it in such a way that it becomes almost untrue. You leave too much out. Take, for example, if I asked you to take a bite of an apple and tell me what it tastes like. You might see things like maybe sweet, a little bit sour, spicy, crunchy. And if you expected that from that description I understood what an apple tastes like, you'd be sadly mistaken. In order to understand what an apple tastes like, I would have to experience the apple. I would have to bite the apple, chew the apple, swallow the apple, and then I would know what the apple tastes like. But you could tell me the greatest story ever about the taste of an apple, and I would never fully understand it. It's the same with describing your experience with a narrative. It's a simplification that misses so much. And in order to really have an understanding and an awareness of what's going on inside of you, it's very important that you experience instead of label. Okay, as before, labels are oversimplification. You could be feeling a craving or sensation inside your body, and you can have a thought inside your mind that says, well, this is good, or this means I'm going to break my diet, or this means I've experienced this before and I know it's going to happen now. And it's important to feel things anew, to experience life almost for the first time, to actually, instead of labeling and characterizing as good or bad, right or wrong, should or shouldn't, just really dive deep and be curious about what you're experiencing and resist the urge to label. Cravings. Cravings are a combination of what you're perceiving, what you think about what you're perceiving, and the bodily sensations that accompany your thoughts about what you're perceiving, which go to create emotions. And together, they combine to form craving. Cravings are not good or bad, right or wrong. They have a certain energy. But once you begin to break down the components of what a craving is, it's much easier to manage what we call cravings. There are two tools that we use to manage our cravings. The first tool we use is radical acceptance. What that means is we explore and investigate whatever's taking place inside of our consciousness, in our minds, in our bodies, in our environments, with the focus of full acceptance, almost love, a willingness to explore and investigate without judgment, without labeling, just being present and fully accepting whatever it is that wants to be heard. The next tool we use in our practice is relaxed awareness, which means we let our awareness go wherever it wants to go. Again, in the present moment, whether it's a thought we're having, or whether it's a sensation inside our bodies we're experiencing, or we're perceiving something in our environment, we allow ourselves to not avoid, but the opposite. We go towards, into whatever it is that wants to be expressed. And the counterpart to that is we recenter ourselves with our breath. We anchor ourselves with the natural breath, the unforced, unhurried breath. However it is in the moment, we let it be. And we experience it fully. There are two steps involved in this practice. I call them RA-RA. RA-RA. The first of the tools is radical acceptance, which means we radically accept whatever's taking place in the present moment, whether it's in our perception, whether it's a thought we're having, whether it's a bodily sensation or strong emotion. We don't avoid it. We don't run away. We go into it. We explore it and we investigate with an open heart and love. This is the key. This is a very important piece to the puzzle, because if you don't explore fully and accept unconditionally, it won't work. It's crucial that it's unconditional acceptance. The second piece to the practice is something we call relaxed awareness. It's the other Ra in the Ra-Ra. Relaxed awareness means allowing our awareness to wander and drift from one sensation or thought or something in our environment, craving or an emotion, fully investigating whatever is calling for our attention without becoming fixed. When we're having a craving, because it has different components, we have to allow our awareness to wander, to encompass the different aspects. And so a relaxed awareness is how we do that. Once the craving or thought is explored, we bring our awareness back to our breath, the uncontrolled breath, a free breath. And we just notice, how are we breathing? How does it feel to breathe? What is the sensations associated with breathing? And in time, our awareness will wander again, and we don't stop it or force it back to the breath. We let it wander to whatever it wants to. And after it's explored, then we bring it back. So it's almost like an anchor point where you allow it to wander and bring it back to self. And when I say self, I mean the unhurried, unforced, natural breath. The body has its own intelligence and its own management system. And so when I use the word management, it's not like a top-down approach where your mind tells your body and your body controls this. And it's more of an intuitive allowing. And so with radical acceptance, we allow our awareness and our consciousness to provide the space for our cravings, one, to express themselves, for our thoughts to be heard, and for our body to accept whatever is taking place. This management structure is not one of force or control or manipulation or superego controlling the ego. It's more of allowing space for your body to manage itself. In time, you'll notice, and the noticing in itself will allow the space for you to make more informed choices. So, radical acceptance is accepting what happens, and the management that comes from this is a natural, unforced, enlightened management. Anxiety and stress come about usually when the mind is fixed on one particular perception. It could be a bodily sensation, it could be something in your environment. But when you become fixed on a certain thought or perception, it creates a sense of stress because there's no space, there's no room for escape. And you're kind of forced myopically and cannot change your focus, which is stress and anxiety inducing. And so to avoid this, we use breath awareness. Breath awareness allows you some space in between what you're perceiving, what you're experiencing, and the anchor of a relaxed breath. You might be panicking, your breath might be hyperventilating, or you might be breathing slow and relaxed, or somewhere in between. The point is, bringing your attention back to the breath creates some space between the craving, along with associated anxiety and stress, and just what's purely happening in your body, without force or control, just a natural breath in and out. Breathing plays a huge role in developing awareness. The breath is one of those things where you could breathe consciously, you could breathe unconsciously, you could be aware of it or not aware of it. You could ask yourself, do I breathe or does breathing breathe me? It's like your heart beating. Do you beat your heart or does your heart beat? And so one of the unique things about the breath is that it is controllable. You can speed it up or slow it down or let it just operate as it chooses to operate, given your environment and your circumstances. And so our focus is awareness of the breath. It's not control of the breath. An awareness of the breath is the bridge between your natural self and your mind, your thoughts and your emotions. And to enter this bridge and use this bridge as a tool to connect deeper with your natural rhythms is invaluable in managing stress, or cravings, or any of the other sensations associated with craving. We've all probably heard this before a million times, but it bears repeating. If I tell you not to think about a pink elephant, what do you think about? Obviously, pink elephant. And so suppressing thoughts or sensations or emotions is the opposite of what you want to do. What you want to do is explore, investigate, embrace. And through this, once whatever wants to be heard is heard, it tends to naturally, after some time, go away on its own and usually doesn't return. So what we're actually doing is we want to know what it is, explore it, see how it operates. What is it doing? What is its manifestation in our consciousness? Embrace it with love, without attempting to change it, unconditionally accepting, and reground into our bodies through breath awareness. This practice is designed not for just when the sun is shining and the butterflies and ice cream and lollipops and everything is going perfectly. It's designed for those stormy days when cravings can be very intense, had a rough day, kids are screaming, spouses wants to argue, your boss is acting foolish. This meditation and this practice is designed for those times. And the key in utilizing it in a time when things are not going as you would hope is to accept, to radically accept whatever is happening, without wanting it to be different, to walk into the fire instead of away from the fire. And by walking into the fire, we discover that the fire is not as bad as it looked from the outside. And we can learn to find peace, comfort, and acceptance inside the fire. Food cravings come and they go, like clouds in the sky, or your favorite TV program on a TV screen. They're temporal, which means they have a beginning and they have an end. Knowing this, and and willing to let them have their complete say. Gives you a perspective on yourself and your thoughts and your experience of life that is transformative. Setbacks are what they call relapse. Um, it's, it's unfortunate that we use that word because the lessons gained from relapse or setbacks is invaluable, and you cannot replace its value. Or not getting it exactly right the first or second or third or 100th time. It's important that it stays dynamic and fluid, and that we don't take any setback as a failure, but we look at it more as the opportunity to better regulate and balance our approach. Mindfulness and hypnosis are both used to treat addiction. I find that the biggest difference between the two is the state you're in. Hypnosis puts you in a trance state and speaks directly to your subconscious and unconscious. Mindfulness, you take the power and you, through consciousness and awareness, make your unconscious and subconscious more aware. Therefore, you're much more, in my opinion, able to regulate and process their experiences and choices you make. If this practice is done well, radical acceptance and relaxed awareness can really transform your life. You'll see a complete change in not only who you identify yourself to be, but your experience of life. This insight is what the Buddha found sitting under the Bodhi tree. Yogis and spiritual seekers all over the world attempt to acquire this insight. You could say that addiction is a perfect opportunity to gain awareness into this insight because there's a trigger and you can easily see if you're abusing a food or a substance. Your addiction makes it obvious. The trigger of addiction is a perfect opportunity to be aware of your patterns and behaviors, usually undetected because of unconsciousness. And through mastery and coming to an understanding and awareness of your addiction, it turns on a light inside of your consciousness that is unparalleled and it's priceless.